What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So I want to go over and address some of the things that have been coming out over the past 24 hours. First off, we are now starting to see that progressive Democrats, the progressives in the House are actually pretty much controlling what Nancy Pelosi does. This is making it harder for the Senate Democrats to get a bill passed because they understand that even though they get a bipartisan bill passed, if they kick that over to the House, Nancy Pelosi, being that she is working with progressives, she is going to hold off on bringing that bill to the floor until the Senate Democrats pass, not just negotiate, but pass the reconciliation bill worth at least $3.5 trillion. So let's break down what's currently being discussed, because there's a lot of things going on. Progressive demands for stimulus check talks, child tax credits, some misinformation there. Want to break that down to you as well, so we'll get to that in just a second. First, if you could, go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoyed today's update. Also, consider sharing this video with your friends and family over on Facebook as well, so they too can stay updated. And if you want to, consider subscribing so that you never miss an update. Let's get into the update for right now. First, yesterday, on Thursday, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez stated that House progressives would tank a bipartisan infrastructure bill if a sweeping tax and spending measure was not included. And her words were exactly that. They would tank a bipartisan bill. Now, progressives want to see priorities like climate change and social programs included into this bill. We know that Representative Pramila Jayapal, who's the head of the U.S. Progressive Caucus, she said that most of the 5 priorities are somewhat included. Okay, well, according to AOC, she says progressives would simply tank the bill if it doesn't include these. Well, this means that the bipartisan bill, if it doesn't include these provisions that AOC is talking about, that progressives want, then a reconciliation bill must pass as well. So there's different paths, there's different options. Here's the issue. Republicans aren't going to accept some of the progressive priorities. They're just not. We know this. Okay? It's nothing against them, they just will not accept this. So both bills at this time are needed to pass at the exact same time, or progressives will tank the bipartisan bill, which again is not a good thing, because in order to get the reconciliation bill passed, according to Senator Joe Manchin, he states that the bipartisan bill must be agreed on first. So everybody has their own ideas, their own agendas. The problem is it is causing more and more headaches for the Senate, because right now Senate Democrats do not have the numbers not only to pass the reconciliation bill, but Democrats and Republicans at this point do not have the 60 votes needed to pass a bipartisan bill. So again, more issues there. One thing we do know is that Nancy Pelosi understands that she must make progressives happy, or else they will tank the bill. And they've stated this, and they have publicly stated this. This is exactly what AOC said just yesterday. So Nancy Pelosi is not going to bring the bipartisan bill to the floor of the House until both bills come in tandem. She stated this a couple weeks ago. Then President Biden kind of rolled back his comments saying, no, they don't have to pass together. Well, now it's coming out that yes, they have to pass together. So we will see. And this is where things are starting to get reintroduced regarding stimulus checks. We know lawmakers want to see a stimulus check as far as the progressive side. Some moderates are okay with a stimulus check as long as it's fully funded. What we know is that progressives, they want to see meals for all school-age children. That is a priority of theirs. However, it's not one of their top 5. They also want to see climate change included, which we know this will be included. Probably not in the bipartisan bill, or most likely not in that one, but it will be in the budget reconciliation bill. We also know immigration reform will be included. This is one of the priorities. This will be included. There will be a bunch of line items that will be included later on, and according to experts, the reason why these line items have to be included is because Democrats have to figure out a way to entice other Democrats to say, hey, I know you're not in support of this bill, but what if we give you funding for your library? Would then you vote yes on this bill? Oh, you need money for a federal building? Okay, let's put that in there, and then you would support the bill? Okay, well, this is what happened, months ago was, oh, you need money for this building and that building, and you need money for the arts and the humanities? Perfect. Let's put that in there, and then we got your vote? All right. That's what happens. That is what happens. And this is one of the reasons why experts are saying that that $3.5 trillion infrastructure package is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. And already lawmakers are struggling to get the funding for a $3.5 trillion infrastructure package. Yet, the bill is most likely going to balloon up over $4 trillion, at least according to multiple economists. So we'll see. But the good news is, if the bill balloons up over $3.5 trillion, expectations are, based off of what experts are telling us, is that a stimulus check of some amount. Okay, we don't know how much. We don't know if it'll be $100, $1,000, $2,000. We have no clue. But the expectation is anything over 3.5 trillion, it actually increases the chances of a stimulus check being included. So yes, there's still discussions, there's still talks. Do I think there's going to be stimulus included? Yes, I do. I honestly do, 100%. But like I stated earlier, and like I've said for the past few months, the stimulus check is going to be hidden behind some other piece of legislation. For instance, like I reported earlier today in the video I did this afternoon, is that lawmakers are discussing the idea of providing a $500 kind of tax voucher or tax card, gas tax, okay, gas voucher. Okay, and maybe this will come through the earned income tax credits. Maybe this will come out as a end of the year payment. It's not come out as a monthly payment. Some say a $500 monthly payment is just too expensive to put into place because it'd only be about $42 per month that would go out. So we'll see what happens there. But the chances of seeing a stimulus check happen at this point is actually considered more likely. What we are actually hearing this afternoon is that some lawmakers say that one of the reasons why Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is pushing for a vote on July 21st, which is this coming Wednesday, is because the longer they wait to get a vote on the bipartisan bill, more lawmakers are going to start looking at the bill, looking at the legislative text once it comes out, and they're going to say, oh, I didn't know that was included. Well, I can't support that. And so this is one of the reasons why Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is saying, let's just vote on the bill based off of the framework that we put in place, and then we'll come out with the legislative text. Well, that's not going to work. Republicans will never do it, and Democrats at this point, specifically the moderates, are saying, no, we need to see the text. So we'll see what happens as we move forward, but that is what we know right now. Now, let's get into the misinformation regarding the child tax credit payments, because I think this is extremely important. A lot of people have been asking, and I want to give you the facts. First off, some are saying newborns only qualify for the months that they are alive. So if your child is born, let's say in August, they'd get a payment for August, September, October, November, and December. 5 months. Okay, that would be $300 a month for 5 months, $1,500, right? No. That is wrong. That is not the correct information. A newborn, if they are born in 2021, it doesn't matter if they're born on January 1st of 2021 or December 31st of 2021. Anybody born in 2021 gets a full $3,600 child tax credit, because remember, this is a child tax credit, okay? So as long as you were born this year, you will get that, okay? Now, one thing you just need to keep in mind is that if you are turning over the age of 18 in 2021, some are saying that you qualify for only the months that you're 17, right? No, that's not the case. If you turn 18 anytime in 2021, even if it's December 31st, you do not qualify for this payment. Okay, you do not qualify for this payment. Not a single payment. Not a single $250 payment. You would not qualify for this. Okay, so keep that in mind, because, and I'm telling you guys this because I've already seen a handful of people telling me this in the comments, is they have a child that is over the age of 18. They just want to make sure that they need to cancel the month before their child turns 18. Okay, well, that's not the right way to do it. You will actually have to pay back the $250 you just received. Okay, and I've stated this. You will have to pay this back. So keep in mind, there are a handful of people out there that should just completely opt out of these payments. So make sure you do that. Now, One person stated that if you don't opt out of the payment the first month, then you can't opt out over any payment whatsoever. That's not true. If you decide to opt out and you didn't get the July payment because you thought, okay, I don't need it, or maybe I'm not sure if I should take it, I want to learn a little bit more about it first, and you opted out, you can actually go back and get the payment. Not that payment, but the future payments you can go and get. You will also be able to get that payment at the end of the year when you file your federal income taxes. And just like if you didn't opt out and you received your payment and then you decide, you know what, I don't need the payment, I don't want to have to pay this back at the end of the year if I make too much money, or I'm not sure if my child qualifies or not, or you're like, you know what, I'd be better off just saving the money later on, so I'm just going to get it at the end of the year, and you decide you want to opt out then, you can. All right? Now, here's a big issue that's facing the American people, and I want to bring this up because a lot of people have been asking why I keep on talking about rental assistance, mortgage assistance. Well, one of the reasons why is because it's getting so expensive to rent a house and to buy a house. If you do not have a substantial down payment, if you're not willing to almost pay over asking and almost over the actual value of the home, then you could potentially not get a home. If you are not willing to put down the first month's rent, last month's rent, and a security deposit on your rent, you probably will not get that. You probably will not get that home, that apartment. You're not gonna get it because there's so many people out there looking for homes. So many people are looking for different apartments as well. Here's what we know. Right now, the American people that are paid minimum wage cannot afford to pay rent. That is even for a 1-bedroom apartment. Now, I don't know what the cost is for a studio apartment, but I know what it's going to be for a 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom. That's national average. Here's what we know. Nationally, the average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment, okay, again, this is across the whole United States, is $1,061 per month. For a 2-bedroom apartment, it's $1,295 per month. The average renter, they make about $18.78 per hour. So if you use that 30% rule, which means that you should never spend over 30% of your monthly income on housing. If you use that 30% rule, this means the minimum wage workers can't even afford a 1-bedroom apartment if they took on 2 full-time jobs. No, you couldn't. You would need you need to work almost 100 hours. What does it come out to, like 96 hours, something like that? I could be a little bit off, but I think a minimum wage worker making a little over $7 per hour would have to work about 95 hours per week. Is it per week? Yes, per week, in order to pay for this, okay? So it's not great. Now, let me ask you this, okay? If you stick to this 30% rule based off how much money you make versus how much your mortgage or your rent is, and I don't need to know how much you make, I don't need to know what your mortgage is if you want to, or your rent. You can put all that information in there if you want to in the comments, but you don't have to. But do you live by that rule? Is 30%, is that actually high? Your rent's closer to like 20, 25%? Or is that 30% low? And you actually are spending close to 50, 60, maybe 75% of your income? Are you spending that on rent and mortgage? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'd be curious to know what some of you guys are doing. Now, in other news, the state National Guards, okay, they used nearly $521 million for the time that they were deployed at the Capitol, okay? Here's the interesting thing. They are now asking Congress to replenish these funds because they did not account for this. This is not something that was on them. But the money right now is reported as being tied up because Congress is debating whether or not to provide funding for Capitol Police as well. Well, I stated this before, and I did not talk about the National Guard needing $521 million. What I stated was the the Capitol Police, according to reports, they have a little bit more funding left, but once they get to August 1st, okay, August 1st, mind you, once they get to August, so in 15 days, in 2 weeks, they will most likely have to furlough police officers because they do not have the funding to staff them. Well, what do you think Nancy Pelosi, what do you think Democrats are going to say? When they're trying to get more money to the Capitol Police, when they're trying to get more security at the Capitol, and yet they might have to be furloughed, they might have to be laid off temporarily until Congress can agree on more funding. This is one of the reasons why I said we could potentially see more of these line items included, because right now the discussions are not over. This is something that we will most likely see be brought up most likely this coming week. So we'll see. We also know the White House stated that Florida, the state of Florida, is accounting for a 20%, okay, 20% of the nation's new COVID infections. Yes, the state of Florida alone is accounting for 20% of the COVID infections. And we know that 4 states accounted for more than 40% of all cases in this past week. Also today, Senator Maria Cantwell from Washington, who is a Democrat, she actually asked the major airlines, she actually sent a letter asking them about why they are experiencing workforce shortages, why they are experiencing flight cancellations, and more delays. She stated that airlines are using or have used taxpayer funding to help keep their employees working, and now multiple airlines are canceling flights left and right because they don't have the staff to cover these flights. And I talked about this earlier on today as well, that many airlines are canceling flights. Well, you and I, our taxpayer dollars are what's going towards this the funding to keep these workers working. Okay, well, it's like 50 or 75 billion dollars, something like that, right? It was under 100 billion dollars. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it's like anywhere between 50 and 75 billion dollars went to airlines to make sure they couldn't furlough their employees. Well, some are questioning whether the airlines use this money to the best of their ability, and if the airlines made an honest effort to actually bring back any workers that were furloughed. Because right now, what it looks like is the airlines first thought, okay, yes, we got all this money. Let's just bring back the people we need. Let's just bring back the ones that we can't afford to lose, and we'll just let everyone else kind of go for voluntarily unemployment, right? And they had the option. Or they could stay on, continue to work, even though they may not need them, right? Well, what we're hearing now is some are saying, well, they're not coming back as quickly as possible. They're not coming back as quickly as we need them. But at the same time, Congress is now asking Senator Maria Cantwell is asking, well, why do you need them to come back? They should never left. We were paying you. We gave you the money. So where did the money go? So we'll see what happens there, but things are looking very interesting in that front. But as I know more there, I promise I'll share more once I know it. So again, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday afternoon and Friday evening. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.